Meet Reno Kimura, your average delinquent teenage boy, except for the fact that he's got a tail tucked away and a surprising knack for setting things on fire. So, I guess you could say he's your average demon boy. Ren and his brother Yukio had the pleasure of being raised by Father Shuru Fujimoto, who just so happened to be an exorcist. Their real father, who literally is Satan himself, went out to get the milk and never came back. Poor Ren watched dear old Shuru kick the bucket to save his sorry hide, and bam, suddenly he's got these killer blue flames and fangs to match. But don't worry, he's not all doom and gloom. He's on a mission to kick Satan's butt. And what better way to do it than by becoming an exorcist himself? However, Ren's not your typical schoolboy. He's got a rebellious streak as long as his demon tail that screams, "I'm trouble." Speaking of trouble, he's not one to shy away from a good old punch-up, but deep down, he's a softie like your emo self. Don't let his fiery exterior fool you. Ren's got a heart of gold. Sure, he might headbutt a charging demon just for kicks, but he's also the guy who saves pigeons from bullies and tames wildcats in his spare time. One day, the churchgoers were belting out their holy hymns, trying to rid themselves of their fear, and Father Fujimoto, looking like he'd seen a ghost, urged them to keep chanting. Suddenly, one poor soul started bleeding from every pore, screaming like he'd sat on a cactus. Before anyone could say, "Holy water," he was toast, burned to a crisp by flames bluer than a Smurf's pajamas. And thus began the barbecue party from hell, with followers dropping like flies, all crispy critters. Even the father, the leader, and chief of the Messiah ended up as a crispy snack for the flames, cursing demons with his last breath. Meanwhile, in a local monastery, we've got Father Fujimoto trying to wrangle confessions out of a black-haired troublemaker who's about as forthcoming as a clam at high tide. The father, fed up with the kid's excuses, decides to give him a gentle neck massage by strangling him. The kid, in between gasps for air, starts mouthing off, calling the father everything but a saint. After the impromptu chokehold, the father drops the truth about the kid getting the boot from his job and needing to shape up or ship out. He even offers him a shot at monkhood because apparently becoming a priest is like joining an exclusive club with robes. Then we have Yukio, the priest's golden boy, the kid who puts the perfect in perfectly annoying older brother. He's calm, collected, and about as exciting as a brick wall. And then there's Ren, his troublemaking twin, who's about as subtle as a bull in a china shop. The other priests can't resist taking jabs at Ren, teasing him about being the black sheep of the family. Yukio, with his head so far up in the clouds he's practically orbiting, tells him he's off to fancy True Cross Academy while Ren gets to stay behind and play in the mud. As Yukio packs his bags, he drops some wisdom on Ren, telling him to cool his jets or end up without a job and friendless. Ren, stressed out from his daily brawls, nods along like he's listening to a fortune cookie. Speaking of brawls, Ren's still sore from the beatdown he gave some bird-brain punks the other day. But hey, who needs birds when you've got fists of fury, right? As Ren heads out for a job interview, he bumps into Father Fujimoto, playing supernatural therapist to a family haunted by demonic leftovers. Ren, ever the skeptic, can't resist poking fun at the father's ghost-busting game. But hey, at least the old man's good for tying ties and wishing luck at the interview. Ren's greeted by a boss with more attitude than a bag of jalapenos. She lays down the law, telling Ren to haul heavy boxes, expecting him not to finish on time. But Ren, surprising everyone including himself, zips through the task easily. Of course, he manages to mess up just about everything else, but hey, at least he stacked those boxes like a champ. So Ren somehow manages to charm the pants off his boss and snags himself a job. But his lucky streak takes a nosedive when he spots that same damsel in distress from the monastery trying to wrangle her runaway muffler. Ren swoops in like a superhero, but before he can say, "Muffler my hero," a pint-sized demon crashes the party, snatching the muffler right from under their noses. Ren decides to chase it through the market, where he ends up causing more chaos than good. At this point, he even manages to bowl over a poor kid in the process, earning himself a one-way ticket to unemployment. Talk about a bad first day. Humbled and ashamed, Ren retreats to the park to lick his wounds, while Yukio and the gang back at the monastery wait for him to show up and celebrate his big night. But Ren is a no-show. leaving Yukio to play detective and track down his wayward twin. Meanwhile, back at the monastery, Father Fujimoto finds himself playing therapist to a skeptical dad and his demon-haunted daughter. Ren, grounded for his market mayhem, can only watch from the sidelines as the father tries to convince the dad that demons are more than just a figment of his daughter's imagination. But things take a turn for the demonic when the father discovers that an ancient relic has been tampered with down in the basement. The next day, Ren wakes up to a swarm of tiny demonic flies buzzing around like they own the place. Freaked out and desperate for answers, Ren heads outside only to find that he's the only one who can see the creepy crawlies. Talk about a party for one. But Ren's solitude is short-lived when the pigeon-hunting bully and his goons show up for a little chat. Ren keeps his cool until the bully starts dissing Yukio, sending Ren into a righteous rage. Before he knows it, Ren's throwing punches and dodging demon transformations like it's a Tuesday. Just when things couldn't get any weirder, the bully turns out to be my ex. A full-blown demon with horns and a tail. Yeah, never mind. That is definitely my ex if I've ever seen her. Ren's ready to throw in the towel when he suddenly bursts into flames. Blue flames, to be exact. Talk about a hot topic. Enter Stare-Off, the monster with a flair for the dramatic kneels before Ren like he's meeting royalty. Turns out Ren's not just any old human. He's the spawn of Satan himself, a fact that leaves Ren confused. But before Ren can wrap his head around his newfound demon daddy drama, Father Fujimoto swoops in like a holy whirlwind, eliminating demons left and right. Turns out Ren's not just a regular Joe. He's the key to a whole world of trouble with demons. And just like that, Ren's life goes from ordinary to extraordinary, with a side of demonic mayhem and a sprinkle of holy intervention. Who knew getting the milk on your demon son could be so complicated? Ren and Father Fujimoto make a mad dash back to the safety of their monastery, dodging demons like they're playing a twisted game of demon dodgeball. Along the way, they stumble upon a pack of ghouls, basically undead dogs possessed by demons. Father Fujimoto whips out a makeshift steam bomb filled with holy water and sends those mutts packing. With the night getting darker and demons getting rowdier, they need to hustle back to the monastery before things get even hairier than you deciding not to get a haircut. But just when they think they're in the clear, Shiratori, who's been playing host to a stare-off, snaps out of his demon-induced haze and finds himself surrounded by confused friends and a whole lot of questions. Before you can say, demonic possession, Shiratori's back on the demon train, smashing anything in sight. Meanwhile, back at the monastery, the lower priests are going full tilt, purging coal tar like it's going out of style and beefing up the spiritual defenses faster than you can say, holy barrier. But it's not long before the demons come knocking, trying to crash the monastery party like it's the demon version of spring break. Luckily, the barrier holds strong, keeping the baddies at bay for now. Father Fujimoto, ever the master planner, leads Ren to a secret compartment behind the church stage, unveiling the legendary Koma sword, the demon slayer's weapon of choice. But there's a catch. Ren's demonic powers have been sealed within the sword, and Father's not about to let him go all Excalibur on them anytime soon. As Ren grapples with the truth of his twin brother Yukio not being a demon like him, Astero, in a stroke of cosmic irony, gets taken out by Truck-kun. But just when they think it's all over, Astero crashes the party, literally, by plowing his way into the monastery like a bull in a china shop on a rampage. Father Fujimoto, ever the multitasker, hands Ren his cell phone and tells him to dial up a friend who can hopefully lend a hand. But before Ren can even think about making a break for it, Father Fujimoto shoves him back into the secret compound and slams the door shut, leaving Ren to stew in his newfound demon daddy drama. As Ren yells his frustration from underground, the priests gear up for round 2, splashing Astero with holy water. But just when they think they've got the upper hand, Astero goes full Hulk mode, revealing his true form and making the priests wish they'd stayed in bed. And so, as demons run amok and Father Fujimoto plays phone tag with the forces of good, Ren finds himself trapped underground, grappling with his demons, both literal and metaphorical, while the fate of the monastery hangs in the balance. As Yukio frantically tries to reach Ren and Father Fujimoto, Astero goes full boss mode and starts throwing the lower-ranked exorcists around like they're made of feather pillows. But just when things are looking sad, Ren finally emerges from the depths of the basement, where my uncle is probably down there with him. as he is armed with nothing but a haystack and a prayer. In a move straight out of a slapstick comedy, Ren manages to pin Astro down like a wrestling champ, much to the demon's chagrin. But before Ren can say, "I told you so," Father Fujimoto swoops in like a holy hurricane and exorcises Astro faster than you can say, "Demon be gone." But just when they think they've saved the day, Father Fujimoto slaps the dog out of Ren, both physically and emotionally. And if that wasn't bad enough, Father Fujimoto suddenly starts doing the demon dance himself, courtesy of the devil himself crashing the party. With the room plunged into darkness and Satan doing his best evil overlord impression, it's up to Fujimoto, the exorcist extraordinaire, to save the day. In a move that would make even the Joestar family proud, Fujimoto sacrifices himself, piercing his own heart with a holy relic and plunging into the depths of Jian to save his son. As Ren's memories flood back, he's left grappling with the weight of his loss, while Yukio arrives just in time to witness the aftermath. With Father Fujimoto laid to rest, Ren finds himself alone with nothing but his grief and a phone call to Father's mystery friend. But just when Ren thinks he's all out of options, he's surrounded by a ragtag group of exorcists led by none other than Mephistopheles himself, complete with old-school wizard attire and a flair for the dramatic. As Mephisto lays out Ren's options like a demonic game show host, Ren's left with a choice: join forces with the exorcists to take down Satan himself or face a fate worse than death. With a heavy heart and a newfound resolve, Ren chooses to stand alongside Mephisto and his merry band of demon slayers, ready to take on whatever Jian throws their way. And so, as the sun rises on a new day, Ren's journey from delinquent demon boy to exorcist extraordinaire begins, with the promise of more fiery adventures to come. Ren sets out on a journey that will test his strength, resolve, and ability to keep his lunch down in the face of demonic mayhem. At least he's got a snazzy new job title, Exorcist Extraordinaire. As Ren bids farewell to the monastery that's been his home for the past 15 years, the only thing on his mind is Yukio's conspicuous silence. Seriously, it's like trying to have a conversation with a brick wall. Ren asks around for Yukio, but it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the needle's wearing glasses and has a bad case of resting study face. Meanwhile, Yukio's off having a heartfelt moment at Father's grave, probably contemplating the mysteries of the universe or something equally dramatic. Back on the sidewalk, Ren's waiting for Mephisto like a kid waiting for Christmas morning when suddenly, a pink limo pulls up like something out of a princess fairy tale. Who should emerge but Mephisto himself, looking snazzier than a peacock in a tuxedo. Mephisto drops the truth that Ren's been admitted to True Cross Academy, and just like that, Ren's officially a student. Before Ren can wrap his head around his new academic status, Yukio shows up with a smile plastered on his face, thanking Mephisto like they're old chums. With a mix of confusion and relief, Ren finally asks Yukio where the heck he's been all morning. Turns out Yukio's been off having an existential crisis at Father's grave because apparently, deep thoughts are the new black. As they cruise toward True Cross Academy, Ren can't shake the feeling that there's something off about Yukio's newfound serenity. But before he could delve deeper into Yukio's new zen, they arrive at the academy, and Ren's whisked away to change into his snazzy new uniform. Ren's mind is still reeling from Yukio's silence, especially when he hears Yukio's name announced as the top scorer and first representative. Talk about a plot twist. As girls flock to Yukio like seagulls to a beach picnic, Ren's left feeling like a third wheel at a unicycle convention. At least he's got a front row seat to the Yukio fan club. As they tour the opulent halls of the academy, Ren can't help but feel like a fish out of water, or more like a demon in a sea of holy water. Just when he thinks things can't get any weirder, he stumbles upon a tiny dog that morphs into none other than Mephisto himself. Talk about a canine chameleon. Mephisto hands Ren a key to the cram school where Ren will train to become a page, all while keeping his demonic lineage under wraps. Before Ren can wrap his head around his new secret identity, Mephisto jumps off a bridge like he's auditioning for a stunt double in an action movie. Just like that, Ren finds himself in cram school surrounded by fellow exorcist trainees, including some poor souls who have yet to receive their demon touch baptism. Ren, being the demon prince he is, skips that part like a boss. Just when Ren thinks things can't possibly get any weirder, in walks Yukio, the man of the hour, as their instructor for anti-demon pharmaceutics. Ren's emotions bubble over like a pot of ramen on high heat, and he can't help but start yelling at Yukio. As Yukio continues his impressive introduction, boasting about his early start in the exorcism game and his genius-level skills in anti-demon pharmaceutics, Ren can't help but feel like the odd demon out. Seriously, it's like being the only one at the party who didn't get the memo about wearing a costume. But Ren's silence can only last so long before he explodes like a shaken soda can, unleashing a torrent of frustration at Yukio. Just when things are about to get even more explosive, Yukio calls for a timeout, clearing the room so he can have a heart-to-heart with Ren. With Mephisto finally giving Yukio the green light, Yukio spills the beans about everything. Father, Ren, demons, the whole shebang. Turns out Yukio has been keeping tabs on Ren since day one, thanks to some demonic connection he's had since birth. But Ren's not about to let Yukio off the hook that easily. Grabbing him by the collar like a cat with a mouse, Ren's rough handling accidentally summons a gaggle of lower demons, turning the classroom into a demon disco of chaos. Seeing Ren as more of a liability than a brother, Yukio lays down the harsh truth. Ren's presence was like kryptonite to Father Fujimoto, weakening him to the point of no return. As much as Yukio wants to play nice, he's not about to let Ren off the hook for Father's demise. But Ren's not about to take Yukio's accusation lying down. Finally drawing his sword, he charges like a bull in a china shop on a mission. Just when it looks like brotherly love is about to turn into a brotherly battle royale, Ren surprises everyone by slicing through a massive homo-goblin that was about to pounce on Yukio. With the dust settled and the demons vanquished, Ren reveals his true motivation for becoming an exorcist: to protect those he cares about and prevent any more bloodshed. Surprisingly, Yukio seems to share the same sentiment, finally understanding his brother's plight. With the class in shock and the room resembling a war zone, Yukio arranges for Ren to bunk with him under the guise of keeping an eye on him. But deep down, maybe, just maybe, there's a glimmer of brotherly understanding amidst the chaos. Ren's all teary-eyed after reading a particularly heart-wrenching manga, but before he can reach for another tissue, Yukio swoops in like a manga-stealing ninja, snatching the book away before Ren can turn it into a soggy mess. As Ren tries to wipe away his tears, Yukio casually asks if he's taken a look at the study material he handed over earlier. But when Ren flips through the books and realizes they're about as challenging as a game of tic-tac-toe, he can't help but wonder if Yukio thinks he's as sharp as a butter knife. Yukio, ever the pragmatist, explains that starting with the basics will help Ren get a handle on exorcism fundamentals. Ren's not convinced, feeling more like a remedial student than a future demon slayer. But when Yukio mentions heading out for some practical exorcism work at the supply shop, Ren's suddenly wide awake and raring to go. However, Yukio lays down the law. Ren's only there to observe, no demon-slaying heroics allowed. With a magical key in hand, courtesy of Yukio, Ren marvels at the supply shop's towering exterior, complete with enough traps and barriers to make Fort Knox jealous. But Ren, being the lucky devil he is, can breeze right through thanks to his trusty key. As they arrive at the Garden of Amahara, Yukio warns Ren to stay put while he handles the shopping. But when Ren spots the lush garden, he can't resist taking a closer look, much to the surprise of the garden's caretaker, Shiemi. Shiemi, the green-thumbed guardian of the garden, mistakes Ren for a demon and nearly has a meltdown before Ren convinces her otherwise. Turns out Shiemi's been tending to the garden in honor of her late grandmother, with whom she shared a special bond. Just as Ren and Shiemi are getting acquainted, Yukio and the shop owners swoop in like demon-hunting superheroes, convinced that Shiemi's been infected by some nefarious spirit. After some detective work, Yukio deduces that a demon is lurking in the garden, but Shiemi is not about to let her precious plants become demon fodder without a fight. As Ren tries to lend a hand, he accidentally goes full Godzilla on Shiemi's beloved garden, sending her into a frenzy of despair. As Shiemi opens up about her guilt over her grandmother's death, Ren realizes there's more to this garden than meets the eye. With a determined glint in his eye, Ren decides it's time to snap Shiemi out of her garden-induced funk. As he tries to comfort her, Shiemi's tears flow like a leaky faucet, threatening to flood the garden. Just when Ren thinks he's making progress, Yukio crashes the pity party like the ultimate buzzkill, armed with the knowledge of the demon lurking in Shiemi's midst. As Yukio gears up to exorcise the pesky demon, it decides to play dirty, using Shiemi as a human shield. Talk about a demonic party foul. But Ren's not about to let his newfound friend become Demon Chow. drawing his sword like a knight in shining armor. Unfortunately, his swordplay is about as effective as a plastic butter knife against a steak. With the demon playing keep away and Ren swinging his sword like a blindfolded piñata hitter, Yukio steps in like a boss, pointing his gun at the demon with all the finesse of a cowboy in a showdown. Just when the demon thinks Yukio's all bark and no bite, Yukio proves he's not afraid to pull the trigger, sending the demon packing faster than you can say, "Exorcism, please." With Shiemi safe in Yukio's arms, Ren's left to ponder the craziness of the day, realizing that in the world of exorcism, nothing is ever quite what it seems. And the demon banished to the demon doghouse. Ren finishes the job like a seasoned pro, sending the demon packing with a well-placed swing of his sword. As the roots binding Shiemi's legs disappear like a bad dream, she's free to walk once more, much to her relief and her mother's delight. Just when Ren thinks the drama's over, Yukio pulls out a vitamin capsule and shoots Shiemi like she's the star of a bizarre medical drama. But at least it didn't hurt. The next day, Shiemi joins Ren as his newest classmate, fueled by a crush on Yukio and a newfound desire to become the next big thing in exorcism. Because nothing says romance like battling demons and saving the world, right? In Ren's fantasy world, he's the hero of the hour, basking in the adoration of his classmates for his gallant demon-slaying exploits. But just as he's about to feast on imaginary sukiyaki, reality rudely interrupts in the form of the bald instructor, shattering Ren's dreams like a wrecking ball through a china shop. Suguro, the resident skeptic, scoffs at Ren's daydreams, convinced he's more of a liability than a hero. Meanwhile, Ren can't help but admire Sugiro's cool demeanor and snazzy attire, itching for a chance to challenge him to a duel, while still lost in his reverie, of course. But Ren's habit of dozing off in class hits a nerve with Suguro, who's fed up with Ren's lackadaisical attitude. When Yukio announces the quiz results, Shiemi's bubble of optimism bursts like a balloon when she discovers she's flunked, thanks to some creative medicinal monikers. Ren's own score, a measly 2 out of 100, pales in comparison to Sugiro's impressive 98, leaving Ren scratching his head in disbelief. Things go from bad to worse when Suguro and Ren's simmering animosity boils over into a heated confrontation, with Yukio playing referee. As Yukio explains Sugiro's prestigious background and Ren's unique circumstances, it becomes clear that these two are like oil and water, destined to clash at every turn. But when demons rear their ugly heads in the next class, it's no longer a battle of wits but a fight for survival. Sugiro's lightning-fast reflexes leave Ren in the dust. But when Suguro finds himself in hot water, it's Ren who comes to his rescue, albeit begrudgingly. Even as fists fly and tempers flare, the instructor's stern reminder of the director's interest in Ren serves as a sobering reminder that this feud might have consequences beyond the classroom. As Ren's day at True Cross Academy marches on, Ryuji's friend fills him in on the fiery-haired student's rigid determination to take down Satan himself. Ryuji's burning desire to restore his family's temple, destroyed in the infamous Blue Night Massacre 16 years ago, fuels his relentless pursuit of strength. The temple, now infamous as the Cursed Temple, stands as a grim reminder of the tragic events that unfolded that fateful night, claiming the lives of countless monks and earning it a reputation steeped in darkness. As class trudges on, Shiemi finds herself in a sticky situation, desperately trying to outpace a demon frog. Just as the instructor is about to dive into a lesson on Reaper demons, a timely call from his wife cuts the class short, leaving Ren and Suguro to pick up where they left off. Suguro is still itching for a showdown to prove himself worthy of True Cross Academy. Ren's refusal only stokes the fires of Sugiro's resentment, reminding him of the rejection he and his father faced in their cursed village. It's then that Ryuji, driven by a desire to prove himself and his lineage, leaps into the fray, determined to confront the Reaper demon head-on. But when the Reaper's deadly scythe comes swinging, it's Ren who throws himself into harm's way, revealing his true demonic form and sending the Reaper packing. As Ryuji's reckless bravery earns him a scolding from Ren, the demon world is thrown into disarray by the news of Satan's offspring roaming Assiah. Amidst the chaos, King Amaimon, ruler of the earth, pays a visit to his brother Mephisto, seeking reassurance in the face of this newfound threat. With Gehenna on edge and Ren's true identity exposed, Mephisto enlists Amaimon's help in keeping the peace. banking on Ren's gradual growth and the stability he provides as the youngest brother under Mephisto's watchful eye. As the gears of destiny continue to turn, Ren and his classmates find themselves in the fire of a battle that spans dimensions, with the fate of both worlds hanging in the balance. Amidst the hustle and bustle of school life, Ren finds himself in a familiar predicament, rushing to grab a quick bite before class. Spotting Yukio in the cafeteria, Ren can't help but vent his frustration at not being woken up earlier. Despite Yukio's attempts to rouse him from his slumber, Ren's stubborn sleepiness prevailed. In a hurried frenzy, Ren devours his food before darting off to class. Meanwhile, Yukio's quest for his favorite snack leads to a skirmish with Ren and Ryuji over the last piece. As the two boys tussle over the coveted item, Yukio finds himself accosted by a trio of admirers vying for his attention. Seizing the opportunity for escape, Yukio concocts a clever ruse involving lunch plans with his elder brother, leading Ren to the dining hall under false pretenses. However, Ren's excitement over the diverse array of cuisine quickly gives way to sticker shock when faced with the exorbitant prices. Determined to remedy the situation, Ren and Yukio appeal to Mephisto for a reduction in cafeteria costs, only to be met with a firm refusal. Undeterred, they pivot to the idea of receiving a monthly allowance instead, only to be left flabbergasted by the meager sum offered. With their hopes of affordable meals dashed, Yukio proposes a solution, preparing lunch themselves. Yet Ren's procrastination results in a late-night cooking session and a hastily frozen meal awaiting them the next day. Their morning routine takes an unexpected turn when Ren accuses Yukio of devouring their entire lunch supply, leading to a perplexing realization. If they're the only residents in the dorm, who has been cooking their meals? Venturing into the kitchen, they encounter Mephisto, who reveals the true culinary mastermind behind their meals, Yukibok, a mischievous stove spirit responsible for enhancing the flavor of their food. However, Ren's impulsive decision to gulp down Yukibok's special demon-style oatmeal leaves him regretting his actions and feeling the effects of the potent concoction. The aftermath of the culinary chaos finds Ren and Yukibok knocked out on the kitchen floor, their bellies full from their cooking battle. Meanwhile, Yukio arrives to investigate the commotion, only to find Ren and Yukibok in their food-induced stupor, with Mephisto applauding their efforts. Despite their initial clash, Ren and Yukibok's cooking showdown ends in a tie, forging an unexpected friendship between the fiery demon and the mischievous stove spirit. Together, they join forces to create the ultimate lunch, blending their unique culinary talents. The following day, when the three girls arrive hoping for another taste of Ren's cooking, their harsh comments leave Ren feeling dejected. However, Shiemi's arrival with an order prepared by Yukio lifts his spirits. As Shiemi enjoys Yukibok's food, jealousy flares among the girls, leading to a destructive rampage in the kitchen. Yukibok, enraged by the destruction of his culinary creations, decides to teach the girls a lesson, prompting Ren and Yukio to intervene. Ren, understanding Yukibok's sentiments, prevents further escalation, while Yukio is left to bear the consequences of eating too much food. With Yukio sidelined due to a stomachache, Mephisto grants him 2 days of rest while Ren prepares something special to cheer him up. As Shiemi trudges her way to the academy, her mind drifts back to that cringeworthy moment when Ren disowned her as a friend in front of Ryuji and his posse, leaving poor Shiemi emotionally bruised. Arriving at the cram school, she spots Kamiki and Paku, and in her haste to greet them, Shiemi's feet betray her, leading to a graceful tumble in her flowing dress. Kamiki, with a smirk worthy of an award, decides to play the ultimate ignore game, while Paku, bless her soul, stays behind to check on Shiemi's well-being. Suddenly, like a wild whirlwind of confusion, Ren pops up behind her, questioning her sudden gravitational attraction to the floor. Shiemi brushes herself off and exits for class, silently vowing to rely less on Ren and forge her own friendships. In class, Yukio talks about the upcoming XYR authorization exams, scheduled conveniently before summer break. Ren, clueless as ever, turns to Shiemi for an Exorcism 101 crash course. She patiently explains that becoming an exorcist requires passing the XYR exam followed by specialized combat training. The impending week-long boot camp is designed to whip the candidates into shape for said exams. Yukio distributes the dreaded forms, leaving Ren scratching his head in confusion. Ryuji's disbelief at Ren's lack of ambition and Rina and his trusty psychic offering Ren a lifeline by guiding him through the form-filling ordeal. Ren's cluelessness reaches new heights when it comes to selecting a title, but Bond swoops in, dubbing him knight for his sword-wielding heroics. Yukio, on the other hand, boasts the impressive titles of Doctor and Dragoon, leaving Shiemi to marvel at her friend's camaraderie while silently vowing to stop playing second fiddle. Meanwhile, in another riveting class session, an instructor demonstrates the art of demon summoning. Cue the dramatic circle drawing with chalk and the strict warning against circle disruption because, magic. The ritual calls for the summoner's blood and a catchy invocation. Demon Nebiros makes a grand entrance, setting the stage for the students to flex their summoning muscles. Kamiki kicks things off with some impressive fox spirits, leaving Shiemi and the gang duly impressed. However, the rest of the class falls short, except for our heroine, who somehow manages to summon an adorable infant greenman. Shiemi's triumphant moment is sealed as she successfully tames her leafy companion, proving once and for all that she's more than just a wallflower. As the class disperses, the instructor drops the tidbit that tamers capable of befriending demons are as rare as spotting my dad who got the milk. Post-class, Shiemi musters up the courage to extend an olive branch to Kamiki, hoping to forge a friendship. But Kamiki's commitment to the art of ignoring reaches Olympic levels until finally she explodes like a shaken soda can, accepting Shiemi's offer amidst a flurry of exasperation. What follows is a bizarre twist as Kamiki morphs into a mini tyrant, appointing Shiemi as her personal pack mule. Ren, perplexed by the sudden role reversal, watches in disbelief as Shiemi's newfound friendship resembles more of a master-servant dynamic. Outside the dorms, Yukio administers a pop quiz, reminding everyone of the ungodly hour they must rise. Ren, in desperate need of a breather, steps out for some fresh air. While Yukio issues the pre-dawn wake-up call, Kamiki, Paku, and Shiemi head for a bath, only to be interrupted by Shima's sleazy proposition to peek at the bathing beauties. Ryuji swiftly shuts down Shima's lecherous fantasies, but not before Shima attempts to corrupt Yukio with his devious plan. As Shiemi obediently follows Kamiki, she's unceremoniously halted at the bathhouse door, deemed unworthy to witness Kamiki's naked glory. Instead, she's tasked with fetching fruit milk, a far cry from the glamorous life of a friend. Ren, fed up with Kamiki's exploitation of Shiemi, intervenes, offering a reality check that Shiemi seems allergic to. Meanwhile, Kamiki and Paku have a heart-to-heart, reminiscing about their past struggles and Paku's contemplation of dropping out due to academic woes and battlefield fears. Their conversation takes a sharp turn when a demon ambushes them, leaving Paku wounded and Kamiki frantically summoning Inari's goddesses with all the confidence of a kitten facing a mouse. Ren, unable to stand idly by, leaps into action, protecting Kamiki from her own botched summoning. Shiemi arrives on the scene, administering first aid like a pro with the help of her leafy familiar, while Ren squares off against the demon. Just when it seems like curtains for Ren, Yukio swoops in with impeccable timing, banishing the demon with a single shot. As Shiemi watches, Ren comforts a tearful Kamiki, offering his shirt as a makeshift tissue. The demon, revealed to be the instructor with a penchant for summoning tutorials, slinks back to its master, leaving the group to pick up the pieces of their eventful day. Haunted by Paku's confession and her embarrassing summoning debacle, Kamiki finds herself tossing and turning in the wee hours, courtesy of a nightmare straight out of a horror flick. The next day, she musters the courage to return Ren's borrowed shirt, complete with a thank you that comes with a side of orders. Ren is sworn to secrecy regarding Kamiki's tearful episode. Meanwhile, Yukio, decked out in his exorcist attire, tends to Paku's feverish state. Ren, ever the curious cat, probes Yukio for details on the demon attack and its motives. Yukio, ever the detective, is hot on the trail of the demon's origin, even as he casually mentions the school's demon-proof charms that occasionally fail, much to the chagrin of the exorcist crew. Back at Paku's bedside, Kamiki listens to her friend's musings about Ren and Yukio, wrestling with her own emotions as Paku contemplates leaving the school. On the dorm rooftop, Ren broods over the demon's cryptic words, lamenting the collateral damage his presence seems to incur. Shiemi, stage left with a bundle of freshly laundered bedsheets and a heart full of goodwill, joins Ren in a therapeutic bedsheet drying session courtesy of her laundry efforts. The next day brings a magical mishap for Kamiki, whose emotional turmoil spills over into her spellcasting performance. Suguro, on the other hand, dazzles with his spellwork prowess, much to Kamiki's chagrin. A heated exchange between Ryuji and Kamiki escalates into a full-blown quarrel, resulting in Yukio's wrath and a group punishment involving demonic lap ornaments. With Yukio temporarily absent in the dorm on lockdown post-demon scare, the stage is set for another spine-tingling encounter. Shiemi's quick thinking and infant Greenman's summoning stall the demon's advance, but not before unleashing a cough-inducing ghoul fog. Ren, the reluctant hero, faces off against the demon duo, employing his signature blue flames with dramatic flair. But just when victory seems within reach, the true mastermind behind the attacks reveals himself, none other than the instructor. Ren's swift exorcism dispatches the demon, but not before Kamiki joins the fray with a lackluster summoning attempt. Ryuji, stepping up to the plate, delivers the final blow, with Ren arriving just in time for a heated scolding session. Yukio and Mephisto burst into the room, revealing the hidden teacher cabal lurking within. Mephisto explains that the dreaded boot camp was nothing but a sneaky ploy to assess the X-Wire candidates. The results will be announced after a thorough review of the instructor's reports, leaving Shiemi and the others to nurse their battle scars. Concerns about passing the exam plague Kamiki, but a reassuring pep talk from Ren soothes her nerves. Shiemi, waking up from her slumber, seeks answers from Ren, prompting a heartfelt thank you from Ryuji for her heroic efforts. Kamiki, ever the skeptic, can't shake her suspicions about Ren's mid-level ghoul takedown, especially considering his lowly page status. As evening falls, Yukio confronts Instructor Newhouse about his questionable tactics, only to learn that he's been following Mephisto's orders to test Ren's mettle, with deadly force if necessary. Before bidding adieu, Newhouse assures Yukio that he won't be snuffing out Ren's flame just yet. Later, at the supply store, Yukio and Shiemi share a heart-to-heart about their insecurities and aspirations, with Yukio confessing to his own crybaby past and Ren's surprising prowess. As Yukio urges Shiemi to confront her future head-on, he senses danger lurking and abruptly exits. Back at the dorm, Ren narrowly dodges a nighttime assassination attempt by Newhouse, thanks to Yukio's quick pillow swap. A tense standoff ensues, culminating in a fierce battle between Yukio and a demon summoning Newhouse. Ren, awakened by Shiemi's arrival, leaps into action, ultimately convincing Newhouse to spare innocent lives. Moved by Ren's plea, Newhouse retreats, warning Ren of the dangers ahead. Ren, ever the quick healer, brushes off his wounds in no time, prompting an emotional confession from Shiemi about her decision to become an X-Wire. The next day, Mephisto announces the successful promotion of everyone to X-Wire status, celebrated with a delightfully budget-friendly party. As Mephisto extends his apologies to Yukio for Newhouse's antics, he quietly makes a call to his younger brother, hinting at more mischief to come. As Ren trudges back to the dorm, clutching his precious ice cream to combat the scorching summer heat, he can't help but grumble about the lack of air conditioning in their supposedly swanky school. Meanwhile, in the security room, the guards, in their casual banter, accidentally spill the beans to Kuro the black cat about something that could spell big trouble. Upon entering the dorm, Ren is greeted by the sight of Yukio buried in his books, the epitome of studiousness. Deciding to join the scholarly party, Ren plops down at his desk, ready to tackle the daunting task of studying, or so he claims. In a hilarious twist, Ren's complaints about the summer heat lead to a discussion about their position within the exorcist hierarchy. Ren, ever ambitious, sets his sights on the coveted title of Paladin, only to be met with Yukio's stern admonition about his over-reliance on his demonic powers. Their sibling squabble takes a chaotic turn when Ren accidentally breaks Yukio's glasses, prompting a fit of laughter from the mischievous demon spawn. Needless to say, Yukio is less than amused. Just as tensions reach a boiling point, Yukio receives a cryptic call and dashes off, with Ren hot on his heels despite protests to the contrary. Arriving at the scene, they find Kuro the black cat in a state of frenzy, his telepathic cries echoing in Ren's ears. The revelation of Father Fujimoto's passing sends shockwaves through the group as they realize the true extent of Kuro's anguish. Yukio, armed with knowledge about Kuro's demon origins, springs into action, deploying tranquilizers and holy water in a desperate bid to calm the feline fury. But Kuro, fueled by grief and rage, proves resistant to their attempts at pacification, hurling accusations of deceit at everyone within earshot. Ren and Yukio brace themselves for the showdown with the demon cat, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. As the exorcists rack their brains for clues about Kuro's connection to Father Fujimoto, Ren eavesdrops on their conversation and learns the shocking truth. Father Fujimoto was none other than the legendary paladin. Yukio, armed with a mysterious object from Father Fujimoto, prepares to use it as a last resort to subdue Kuro. But Ren, ever the compassionate soul, intervenes, pleading with Yukio for a chance to speak to Kuro before resorting to drastic measures. In the heart of an intense battle, Ren reveals his true identity as Fujimoto's son, triggering a ferocious attack from Kuro. With lightning reflexes, Ren deflects Kuro's strike and subdues the demon. Reaching out to Kuro, Yukio is flooded with memories of Father Fujimoto, seeing echoes of his mentor in Ren's actions. Overcome with grief, Kuro reverts to his original form, lamenting the loss of his beloved Shiro. Meanwhile, Mephisto and his younger brother observe from afar, pondering Ren's potential. In a heartwarming turn of events, Kuro becomes Ren's familiar thanks to Yukio's leniency. The mysterious object in Yukio's possession turns out to be silver vine sake, delighting Kuro. As Yukio pours out the sake, the once furious demon transforms into a jubilant ball of fur, solidifying the bond with Ren and Yukio. Ren, Shima, and Kuro find themselves on a beachside mission with their instructor, but Shima's dreams of beachside bliss are dashed when they're put in charge of selling grilled squids. Ren takes charge of marketing, but their sales pitch falls flat, leaving Shima sulking over missed swimming opportunities. However, Kuro arrives in a swimsuit, ready for a seaside nap. Her relaxation is short-lived when a leg cramp sends her into a panic, leading to a comedic quarrel with a well-meaning but misunderstood boy. The commotion draws a crowd, and Ren, Shima, and Kuro stumble upon a shocking sight. A portion of the sea has turned black, signaling the arrival of the legendary demon, the Kraken. The local shaman reveals a grim prophecy foretelling the destruction of the village. They encounter the same boy again, seeking their help to find his father, missing for 6 months after confronting the Kraken. As night falls, the instructor regales them with tales of the Kraken over a squid feast, only to be interrupted by a call from his wife. He entrusts Ren and his friends with the care of the boy, Yohei, whose determination to avenge his father's disappearance leaves Kuro contemplating his earlier compliment. The next day dawns with Kuro rousing Ren to alert him of the sea transformation. Kuro plays babysitter to the headstrong Yohei, whose determination to face the Kraken knows no bounds. Despite Kuro's attempts to coax Yohei away from danger, the stubborn lad remains rooted to the spot. Suddenly, the Kraken emerges with a deafening roar, sending Ren and Shima scrambling for cover. Kuro leaps into action, only to be thwarted by the unexpected perils of raw squid consumption. Undeterred, Kuro attempts to summon her Inari goddesses, but her efforts are foiled by the fading magic circle. As the Kraken bears down on them, Yohei takes matters into his own hands, launching a reckless assault from his boat with sniper arrows. Ren leaps into action to save the impetuous youth, but Yohei remains undaunted, plunging into the fray. Just when all seems lost, Yohei's father appears on a makeshift survival boat, revealing that the sea guided him safely back to the village. With the threat neutralized, the group breathes a collective sigh of relief. As night falls and peace is restored, the instructor dispels any lingering fears, assuring the students that the Kraken poses no danger. Yohei rejoices in his father's return, while Ren and his friends prepare to return to the academy. Before parting ways, Yohei presents them with a parting gift, his faithful canine companion. In a surprising turn of events, Yohei cheekily compares his dog's eyebrows to Kuro's, leaving her stunned and speechless. With laughter echoing in the air, Ren and his friends bid farewell to Yohei and his furry friend. Their adventure at an end, but their bonds strengthened by the trials they've overcome. Mephisto peruses Amon's collection of Japanese cultural treasures, marveling at Japan's rich diversity. Suddenly, his eyes land on a yukata adorned with the infamous Honey sisters, and he snatches it faster than a ninja on caffeine. Donning the yukata and a comically long-nosed mask, Mephisto indulges in his samurai daydreams. As Mephisto drifts into his fantasy, Amon breaks the reverie with a curious inquiry about Ren. With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, Mephisto ponders if Amon is ready to tango with Ren. Meanwhile, Ren and his crew are tasked with evicting a pesky ghost at Land, Mephisto's amusement park. Their mission takes an unexpected turn when Shima and Kuro stroll in fashionably late, leaving the boys gobsmacked. Yukio assembles teams to tackle the ghostly nuisance, pairing Ren with Shima. As they scour the park, Ren finds himself stealing glances at Shima's skirt while Shima, a first-timer at an amusement park, is living her dream. Suddenly, a ride springs to life, adding a dash of spooky chaos to their adventure. Finally encountering the ghost, Ren watches in disbelief as the spectral troublemaker buries his head between Shima's ample bosom, pouring out his tragic tale. Attempting to comfort the ghost, Shima finds herself squeezed tight before the ghost vanishes into thin air. Outraged, Ren bellows at the ghost, feeling cheated out of his own bosom-squeezing session. As Shima chases after the ghost, Ren attempts to report their findings to Yukio, only to have Amon snatch the Koma sword from him. Amon, intrigued by the sword's power, begins toying with it, igniting blue flames. Sensing a disturbance, Takara abandons his video games and ventures forth, leaving Suguro in the digital dust. In a showdown with Amon, Ren finds himself outmatched, and the amusement park erupts into a whirlwind of chaos as the rides go haywire. Amon effortlessly knocks Ren to the ground, delivering a pummeling while pondering his family's inexplicable fixation on Ren. In a last-ditch effort, Ren unleashes his blue flames, clearing a path to rescue Shima as the park trembles. Just as Amon prepares to deliver the final blow, Takara leaps into action, conjuring a sword from his chest. Defeated, Amon beats a hasty retreat, returning the Koma sword to Ren. Fuming over his defeat, Ren faces Yukio and Shima's inquiries, only to be joined by the unexpected arrival of Shira Kirigakure, a senior exorcist first class. At Land, Shira makes her grand entrance, introducing herself to both students and instructors alike. She casually drops the bomb on the instructor and Yukio that she's whisking Ren off to the Japan branch. However, she has serious questions for the big boss, Preceptor Mephisto. Jealousy brews in the air as Shima and Suguro shoot daggers with their eyes when they catch sight of Shira hauling Ren around. Yukio plays the good guy and opens the gate to the Japan branch base while Shira practically drags Ren kicking and screaming through the door. Now, let's talk history. These exorcists have been in the monster-busting game for over 2,000 years. Just when things get interesting, Mephisto walks in, cool as a cucumber, to greet Shira. Shira is not buying what Mephisto is selling, though. She has burning questions and is not afraid to ask them. Why hide the son of Satan? Mephisto, all smooth talk, says it's for the greater good of the true Cross Knights to turn Ren into their ultimate weapon. Shira is not convinced and demands to know why Mephisto kept this secret from the Vatican. Mephisto explains that he wanted to make Ren impressive to the bigwigs at the Order of Gregory. But wait, there's more. Shira is not done grilling Mephisto. Was Fujimoto in on this scheme too? Mephisto is quick to deny it, saying Fujimoto just wanted to raise Ren until those blue flames appeared. Shira is not buying it and insists on dragging Ren into the interrogation room. Inside, Ren starts getting curious about his dear old dad. Shira drops the truth that she was Fujimoto's disciple and had her own demon days long before Ren and Yukio came along. But hey, no time for reminiscing. It's sword-snatching time. Shira is out to teach Ren a lesson, but guess what? Ren's got some serious skills, even without his trusty Kurikara. Shira reminisces about Fujimoto's dying wish for her to train Ren. But hey, orders are orders, right? She whips out her sword, ready to do what she was told by the bigwigs back at Vatican HQ. Eliminate the son of Satan. Ren is not about to go down without a fight, though. He dodges, he weaves, but Shira is like a force of nature. She kicks him down, but Ren is not giving up. He has dreams of becoming a paladin and giving Satan a beatdown, which somehow manages to crack a smile from Shira amidst all the chaos. Shira has a light bulb moment. She figures out why Fujimoto handed Ren over to her. Turns out Ren is a riot. She can't help but find him entertaining. So she decides to do a solid and lets Yukio patch Ren up in the Great Cell. But wait, she's not handing over that Koma sword just yet. Nope. Ren has to prove he's worthy first. She has to keep the demon protection on lock. You know. But Shira is not just going to sit back and relax. Oh no, she has her eye on Ren and is not afraid to ask Mephisto for a little favor. She wanted a position at the academy to keep tabs on her favorite troublemaker. She threw a little reminder at Mephisto about the whole demon thing. No hard feelings, right? But just as she made her grand exit, who should show up but Amon himself? Nepho tried to keep his cool, but inside he was probably brewing up a storm. There was going to be some serious talk about this little surprise visit later. Now let's dive into Ren's past. This kid was a handful, always causing chaos at school. One time, he even broke a few of Fujimoto's ribs when dear old dad tried to calm him down. But hey, Ren's got big dreams. He wants to be as cool as his old man. Fast forward to the next day. Shira struts into the cram school like she owns the place. The other students are scratching their heads, wondering why one of their classmates is suddenly their instructor. And then in walks Ren, fashionably late as always, only to be greeted by the sight of Shira at the head of the class. Ren and the gang have survived their first semester, but there's no rest for the wicked. While everyone else jets off home for the summer break, the Esquires are stuck at a field drill masquerading as a training camp in the forest, led by the dynamic duo of Yukio and Shira. They arrive at the camping site, and Yukio wastes no time dropping some truth bombs about the forest. By day, it's all peace and tranquility, but come nightfall, it's Demon City. So, they hustle and set up camp before the sun dips below the horizon. Boys get tasked with tent duty and fire building, while the girls are on magic circle duty and dinner duty. But Ren, being Ren, is more interested in causing tent-related chaos than actually helping. Meanwhile, Shiemi and Kanekomaru are struggling with the cooking gear. So Ren swoops in like a culinary hero and takes over the kitchen. And what do you know? The guy's got skills. Everyone's jaws hit the floor when they taste Ren's grub. Turns out he's a natural in the kitchen. It's a big moment for Ren, getting praised for something other than his demon dad antics. While Yukio tries to lay down the drill rules, Shira is off in her own little world, probably nursing a bottle of something strong. Yukio explains that they've got to find and light some lanterns he's hidden in the forest. But here's the kicker. There are only 3 lanterns, meaning only 3 Esquires can make the cut for the real missions. Oh, and they've only got 3 days' worth of supplies to survive on. No pressure, right? Before they head off, Shira gives Ren a stern warning. No blue flames allowed. If word gets out about Ren's true identity, she'll have to rat him out to the higher-ups. With that ominous message hanging in the air, the students scatter into the forest, each on a mission to find those elusive lanterns and secure their spot in the big leagues. Let the games begin. Let's dive into the chaos. As the gang gets swarmed by demon moths, Ren hears Shiemi's cry for help and dashes to her side like a true hero. But in his rush, he accidentally lets loose his signature blue flames, catching Ryuji's attention as he arrives on the scene. Ryuji, oblivious to Ren's little blue flame slip-up, asks if Shiemi's okay. Shiemi's in tears as she realizes her magic circle summoning her trusty Greenman has been torn to shreds. But Ryuji, the voice of reason, soothes her fears and assures her she can summon it again with a fresh circle. Just as things start to settle, Shima comes charging in, ready to throw down. Ren jumps into action, defending against the attack as Ryuji schools Shima on the finer points of demon dodging, like turning off your darn flashlight, which is basically a bug beacon. Meanwhile, Mephisto and Amon are up in the sky, probably snacking on popcorn as they watch the chaos unfold below. Kanekomaru hits the jackpot and finds one of the elusive lanterns, shooting out a text to Ryuji and Shima for backup. When the gang arrives, they're greeted by a lantern the size of a small car. Kanekomaru's got a plan, though. Cart that bad boy back to base. But hold on, Ren spots trouble ahead, a broken bridge. He puts the brakes on the cart, and with a little work, they manage to get it safely across the river of bugs with the lantern tagging along for the ride. Shima works his magic, removing the talisman from the lantern, and just like that, they've made it across. But Ren, poor Ren, he's wiped out. He leads on the bridge for support, and wouldn't you know it, the whole thing comes crashing down, releasing a monstrous moth that snatches him up in its clutches. The tension is thick as Ren finds himself trapped, unable to move his arm. He bravely tells his friends to leave him behind and deal with the moth themselves. But Ryuji ain't having it. He grabs the talisman and takes aim, unleashing a blast that sends the moth reeling and frees Ren from its grasp. They hightail it out of there before the moth can recover, stopping at a safe distance to catch their breath. Ren tries to thank Ryuji for saving his hide, but Ryuji brushes it off, reminding Ren that he owes him one after Ren pulled him from the jaws of death with that Reaper incident. He's not about to let Ren play the lone hero, especially with friends like them around. But Ren's got bigger worries on his mind. He's terrified of his true identity being exposed to his friends. Back at base camp, they find Kanekomaru and Takara have already returned with 2 more lanterns. But just when they think they're in the clear, Amon crashes the party with his pet demon. Shira is ready, though, activating those demon warding circles like a boss and tossing those demons aside. Mephisto is probably kicking back somewhere, enjoying the show. But Mephisto is not all fun and games. He warns Amon to cool it with the casualties. With the drill officially over, Shira shifts gears, ordering the students to prepare for Amon's impending attack. She gathers everyone around, dousing them in holy water for protection, everyone except Ren, that is. Shira spins a little white lie about Ren being allergic to the stuff. Meanwhile, Yukio is off on his own, fending off the moths with holy water bombs like a pro. Just when things couldn't get any crazier, the giant moth makes a dramatic return, staring Yukio down. Shira wastes no time handing Ren his trusty Koma sword and ordering him to hightail it out of there if Amon breaks through their defenses. It's a showdown of epic proportions, and Ren's right in the thick of it. Let's see if he can keep that demon dad's secret under wraps while battling monsters with his buddies by his side. The tension reaches its peak as Shiemi, under the control of a parasite, starts to walk out of the protective circle. Amon swoops in out of nowhere and snatches her away, sending Ren and Shira into action. Ren, fueled by rage, leaps out of the circle, followed by Shira, determined to rescue their friend. But Amon isn't playing nice. He stops at a distance, taunting Ren as he tries to kiss Shiemi, sending Ren into a fury. Ren launches an attack, but Amon effortlessly tosses him aside like a rag doll. Ryuji, Shima, and Kanekomaru join the fray, stepping out of the circle to lend a hand. Ren finds himself knocked down, facing off against Amon, who threatens to harm Shiemi. But just when things look bleak, Ryuji, Shima, and Kanekomaru unleash a barrage of fireworks at Amon, turning his hair into a broccoli-like mess. Shima can't help but laugh at the sight, earning him Amon's ire. In the chaos, Amon breaks Kanekomaru's arm and moves to choke Ryuji. Ryuji finally decides enough is enough and draws his sword, with Yukio arriving just in time to try and stop Ren from doing the same. But it's too late. Ren's already locked in combat with Amon, their clash echoing through the forest as Mephisto watches from above. Ren starts to gain the upper hand, pushing Amon to his limits. But just when it seems victory is within reach, Mephisto intervenes, attempting to send Amon back to Gehenna using a clock. Ren, unwilling to let Amon escape, slices the clock in two, his blue flames raging out of control. The Koma sword, already on the brink of breaking, trembles in Ren's grasp as he becomes consumed by his demonic power. It's a battle of wills, with the fate of Shiemi and the Esquires hanging in the balance. As the dust settles, Mephisto, ever the master manipulator, praises Ren for displaying even greater power than he had anticipated. Ren, still reeling from his outburst, attempts to attack Mephisto, but the demon effortlessly dodges his blows, unfazed. Meanwhile, Amon is making a break for it while Yukio and Shira usher the students to safety. Ren finds himself thrown towards Yukio and Shira, and as Shiemi catches sight of him, she rushes forward and embraces him, calming him down at last. But their moment of respite is short-lived as Arthur Auguste Angel, the paladin, arrives on the scene. He questions Shira about her duty to cover up Fujimoto's actions and whether she's in cahoots with Mephisto or aiming to fulfill Fujimoto's last wish. Before they can get answers, Arthur receives orders to present Mephisto and Ren before the order, with Shira as a witness. Yukio insists on accompanying them, but Mephisto tasks him with a different mission, recovering the damaged Kurakara and looking after the cram school. With Yukio armed with the Kurakara, Mephisto and Arthur depart for the hearing. The hearing kicks off with the order questioning Mephisto about Ren's true identity, which he confirms without hesitation. Meanwhile, Yukio shocks the students by revealing Ren's demon heritage during his own examination. Though strangely, he appears to be just a regular human. Mephisto calmly admits to sealing Ren's powers and demon heart with the Koma sword, while Shiemi anxiously questions Yukio about Ren's fate. Yukio grimly explains that depending on the outcome of the hearing, execution is a possibility. If Ren succumbs to his powers, he'll be transformed into a complete demon, unable to live a normal life. Amidst the chaos, Ryuji says that he knows about the Kurakara because it's one of his temple's treasures. Shima suggests seeking help from the Yoshikuni, prompting Yukio to turn to Ryuji for assistance. Ryuji agrees to lead them to his village, setting the stage for their next move. As the Order demands answers from Mephisto about why he hid the son of Satan, he reveals his sinister plan to turn Ren into a powerful weapon against Satan himself. The revelation sends shockwaves through the room. Ryuji leads Yukio and the others to the Yoshikuni swordsmith he knows. Tensions are high. The Order seems to trust Mephisto's word due to his long history of cooperation, but Yukio and his comrades aren't convinced. The lady swordsmith examines the damaged Kurakara and delivers a grim verdict. She can't fix it due to a missing ingredient obtained through a long-lost ritual. But Ryuji, ever resourceful, proposes a solution. He offers to retrieve the iron sand needed for the ritual in exchange for her crafting a new sword. During the Blue Night, a tower at Ryuji's sister's temple, dating back to its construction, is engulfed in flames. These ancient structures were built with massive nails forged by the Yoshikuni, potentially containing the iron sand they need. Ryuji wastes no time leading Yukio and the others to the temple where the nails are kept. However, their mission takes an unexpected turn when they encounter possessed idols within the temple. The demons within the idols try to sway them from their mission, tempting them to abandon Ren to save the world. But Yukio and Ryuji aren't easily swayed. With determination, they manage to exorcise the demons from the idols. The temple guardian hands over 2 nails to Ryuji, but their respite is short-lived as the ground begins to shake. Amon emerges from the depths of the temple basement, ready to finish the fight with Ren once and for all. The Order tasks Arthur with handling Amon, while Mephisto sees an opportunity to showcase Ren's power by pitting him against Amon. As the battle rages on, the Yoshikuni swordsmith begins the delicate process of mending the Kurakara, a glimmer of hope in the midst of chaos. As chaos ensues within the Order of the True Cross, they realize the gravity of Ren's awakening and the imminent threat of Amon's attack. They turn to Mephisto for a solution. During the hearing, Mephisto calmly reminds everyone that he's currently just a defendant. However, he suggests that they authorize him to release Ren and use him as a weapon to protect the Vatican. With the Order finally giving Mephisto the authorization he requested, the stage is set for a showdown. Amon, having defeated Arthur, Shira, and other exorcists, makes his way to the hearing room in the form of an earth golem. A barrier prevents him from reaching Ren, prompting him to break through the ground to remove it. Meanwhile, Ryuji arrives at the hall with the Kurakara, which reacts to Ren's presence, finally making its way back to its rightful owner after being tossed around. As the Kurakara pulses with energy, Ren unconsciously stands on his feet, the blue flames of his power beginning to manifest. With a single shot, Ren exorcises Amon, stunning everyone present. However, Arthur, arriving on the scene, nearly strikes Ren down with his sword before being stopped by the Order and Grigori, who allow Mephisto to use Ren as a weapon against Satan. The next day, Mephisto calls an emergency meeting of instructors to inform them of Ren's status as the son of Satan and his training at the academy. While the teachers express concern, Mephisto assures them that Ren can be exterminated if he ever becomes a threat. Ren is to undergo rigorous training under 24-hour surveillance by Yukio and Shira. Despite these heavy revelations, Ren arrives late at school to find his friends catching cold tar except for Shiemi, who remains indifferent. His friends greet him with mixed emotions, with Kanekomaru showing fear and anger, highlighting the challenges ahead as Ren grapples with his identity and relationships with those around him. As Ren's emotions boil over, he punches the wall, unwittingly releasing a torrent of cold tar that engulfs Shiemi. In a frantic effort to save her, Ren envelops Shiemi in his blue flames, but to everyone's surprise, they don't burn her. Before Ren can fully process the situation, Ryuji intervenes, rebuking him for his demonic heritage and the devastation caused to Kanekomaru's and Shima's families by his father. Yukio arrives and whisks Ren away for special classes, signaling the start of Ren's intense training for the upcoming exorcist exam. Shima joins Ren in the training room in Kamino, tasking him with lighting candles using his blue flames. It's a grueling process aimed at helping Ren gain control over his powers. Meanwhile, Yukio and Shira engage in extreme training, with Yukio finally reaching his breaking point after Shira's constant taunts. He challenges her to a duel, bound to stop her from calling him a chicken if he wins. Ren watches in awe as the two instructors push themselves to their limits. However, Ren's own training hits a snag when his frustration boils over, causing him to unleash his blue flames uncontrollably. The flames burn through Shira and Yukio's clothes, revealing their bodies underneath. At night, Kanekamaru finds himself on the terrace, contemplating the danger Ren poses. Suddenly, he hears a demonic presence attempting to possess him. Meanwhile, as Ren continues his training, he encounters Kamiki, who suggests that his fear of his own blue flames might be hindering his control. Their conversation is interrupted by an attack from a hawk-like demon, prompting Ren and Kamiki to prepare for battle against this unexpected threat. As Ren attempts to confront the demon with his sword, the creature places its claw on the Karakara, threatening its integrity. Just in the nick of time, Yukio arrives and fires at the demon, driving it out of the building. With the immediate threat neutralized, Ren and Kamiki set about cleaning up the mess left by the demon's intrusion. Their task is interrupted by the arrival of Ryuji, Shima, and Shiemi, who urge Kamiki and Ren to check their phones. Mephisto has issued an emergency summon, calling all exorcists in the region to action. Yukio explains that the demon, identified as Gufu, infiltrated the academy despite the protective barrier maintained by Mephisto, indicating either a breach in the barrier or potential betrayal from within. Mephisto orders investigators to track down Gufu and tasks the Esquires with investigating the integrity of the barrier. Although Ren is eager to join the investigation, Yukio advises him to focus on his training for the time being. Meanwhile, Shima expresses concern about Kanekamaru potentially leaving the cram school after the recent events. However, Ryuji remains steadfast in his belief in Kanekamaru's resolve, knowing that Kanekamaru has sworn to avenge his parents' deaths. Gufu leaves Kanekamaru on the dorm roof, where he is discovered and shot by Yukio. Blaming Kanekamaru for his own injury due to a lack of trust, Gufu plants seeds of hatred in Kanekamaru's heart toward Ren, intending to manipulate him further. As tensions escalate, Yukio becomes increasingly furious with Ren's lack of seriousness, but he suddenly feels a sharp pain and leaves the room. Ren attempts to join the investigation, but Kanekamaru enters the room, unknowingly bringing Gufu with him. Ryuji and Shima rush to Yukio's aid upon hearing a scream, only to find Kanekamaru fleeing from Ren, who has transformed into his demon form. Ryuji and Yukio work together to subdue Ren, with Ryuji pinning down Kanekamaru to protect him from Ren's unleashed blue flames. Yukio, struggling to contain his own anger, pins Ren to the wall, attempting to calm him down. Amidst the chaos, Ryuji arrives and delivers a punch to Ren's face, prompting Ren to leave the scene. Meanwhile, Shira and the others are investigating a suspicious van that transports them to another country. Upon arrival, Shira discovers a destroyed laboratory, hinting at dark secrets. Back at the academy, Kanekamaru wakes up to find Ryuji by his bedside. He confides in Ryuji about his fear of Ren's existence, but to Ryuji, Ren is simply a powerful individual with questionable intelligence. As Ryuji leaves, Gufu takes over Kanekamaru's body, leading Ryuji to urgently contact Yukio. Meanwhile, Ren lies on the roof, unaware of the impending danger when Gufu-possessed Kanekamaru attacks Ren. Shima, Ryuji, and Yukio rush to the scene. Ren finds himself overwhelmed by Kanekamaru's assault until Ryuji's fervent pleas snap Kanekamaru back to consciousness. In a desperate bid to save his friend, Ren unleashes his blue flames and implores Kanekamaru to believe in him. Through Ren's determination, Kanekamaru is freed from Gufu's possession, and the demon is exorcised. Overwhelmed with guilt, Kanekamaru apologizes to Ren, tears streaming down his face. Yukio reports the incident to Mephisto, who learns about the breach in the barrier and the discovery of a mysterious lab. Kanekamaru, grappling with his emotions, decides to leave the cram school but encounters Ren at the bus stop. Ren dispels Kanekamaru's illusion of weakness and extends a hand of friendship, urging him to see past their conflicts. As they reconcile, Ryuji and the others arrive, and together they return to the academy, marking the end of a tumultuous ordeal and the beginning of a newfound understanding among friends. During the daily antics at the academy, Shima decides to play a game to unveil everyone's zodiac personalities by asking for their birth dates. However, Shiemi realizes that Kamiki's birthday is approaching, prompting her to suggest organizing a surprise birthday party. As Shiemi has never experienced a birthday party before, She is clueless about how to arrange one. Ryuji intervenes and assigns the task to everyone, fed up with their antics. Meanwhile, Yukio overhears their planning and quietly excuses himself. Shima heads to the academy classes to inquire about something from Paku, catching Kamiki's attention. Suspicious, Kamiki follows them and witnesses Shima passionately conversing with Paku. Sensing something amiss among her classmates, Kamiki confronts Paku later that evening during coffee. But Paku dodges her questions. Meanwhile, Kanekamaru assists Ren in baking the birthday cake, still harboring some fear of him. Shiemi prepares decorations at her home, where Yukio unexpectedly arrives to purchase herbs. Shiemi invites Yukio to the surprise birthday party and learns from him that his and Ren's birthday falls near Christmas, leading them to celebrate it at the monastery on Christmas Day. Ren, being his usual oblivious self, prepares an Xmas cake instead of a birthday cake, prompting Yukio to demonstrate the difference between the two. Ren and Yukio decide to send the Xmas cake to Mephisto as a prank. Kamiki continues to follow Shima and Paku, suspecting they are dating. She loses control when she sees them together under an umbrella and confronts Paku, causing Shima to inadvertently spill the beans about the surprise birthday party. Angry at being excluded, Kamiki insists on celebrating all of her classmates' birthdays together. Ren and the others agree, and they decide to enjoy the party together. Ren bakes a birthday cake for everyone, and they all exchange gifts, reveling in the joy of camaraderie. However, Yukio remains skeptical about his and Ren's true birth date, as they have no knowledge of their mother or their real birth date. Amidst the chaos, Yukio receives a distressing phone call about an incident at their monastery. Ren and Yukio immediately rush to the monastery, only to find it covered in thick webs. All the priests are trapped in the webbing, with a message on the wall expressing hatred towards those associated with Satan. Upon the office's arrival, one of the victims manages to speak briefly, mentioning a masked man as the perpetrator. The web substance, resembling cement, has ensnared the victims who have only 8 hours to survive. Despite Yukio's attempts to stop him, Ren rushes into the fray and confronts the masked man. However, the masked man seals Ren's Kurakara, intent on making him suffer before abruptly departing. When Yukio and Shira arrive, Yukio pursues the masked man to the clock tower, where he encounters Instructor Noto. Despite Yukio's accusations, Noto denies any involvement. The situation escalates when the clock tower begins to shake, leading Yukio and Shira to suspect a connection between the artificial life lab and Noto. Ren, determined to help, is tranquilized by Yukio to prevent him from recklessly endangering himself. Meanwhile, Yukio tracks down Noto, but the instructor manages to evade capture after injuring an exorcist. As Ren awakens and insists on leaving, Shira intervenes, offering to release him only if he learns to control his flames. Suddenly, Instructor Tsubaki informs them that the masked man has taken hostages at the dorm where Kanekamaru, Shima, and Ryuji are bound by the webbing. The situation grows increasingly dire as Ren, Yukio, and Shira brace themselves for the impending confrontation. The masked man demands the presence of the son of Satan. Mephisto prepares to retaliate by summoning a fire circle in the sky, but Arthur intervenes dramatically, arriving in a fire truck to douse the flames and halt Mephisto's attack. Arthur confronts Mephisto, revealing that the Vatican has issued an arrest warrant for him on suspicion of involvement in researching artificial life. Mephisto calmly surrenders himself to Arthur. Meanwhile, Yukio disregards Shira's warnings and enters the building. The masked man, holding Shima's phone, calls Ren and demands his presence. Yukio attempts to subdue the masked man with holy water grenades and tranquilizers, but to no avail. Just as the situation escalates, Shira, Ren, and the other investigators arrive on the scene. Ren uses his blue flames to burn through the webbing, freeing everyone, and hurls the masked man out. As the mask shatters, the true identity of the masked individual is revealed to be a woman. Before Shira can apprehend her, Noto intervenes, allowing his wife to escape. The exorcists manage to capture Noto, but the woman slips away. Suddenly, a senior officer escorts Yukio to meet someone. Yukio is taken to a running train where he encounters a masked man named Ernst Friedrich E.G.N., who claims to be Yukio and Ren's grandfather. The revelation shocks Yukio. Noto's wife, Mole, who has been dodging the exorcists, collapses in Shiemi's garden. Shiemi tries to help but is overwhelmed until her little green infant sidekicks lend a hand. Meanwhile, Ernst tells Yukio that he is their grandfather, revealing a photo of their mother, Yuri. Ernst plans to take Ren and Yukio under his wing now that Mephisto is imprisoned and Fujimoto is dead. He explains that he lost everything during the Blue Night and was imprisoned by those who killed Yuri. Ernst's reappearance is strategic, with the Grigori gang being dealt with, and he has plans for Yukio. However, Ren's demonic nature complicates things. Ernst reveals his plan for demon busting with the true cross knights in Mephisto's pocket and urges Yukio to join his crusade. While Ren listens to Nodo's confession, Shira investigates further. Nodo reveals that Mole has been using anti-soul technology, leading to her possession. Nodo fears exorcising her, worried about losing her. Arthur and his exorcists arrive, ready for a showdown. Ren is eager to fight, but Shira intervenes. Just as things get messy, a talisman appears. Ren is clueless, but Shiemi summons him to her secret lair. With Ren's blue flames, the team prepares to confront Mole, who has gone full demon mode. Ren is ready to fight, but Shiemi plays the peacemaker. After a tense standoff, Ren steps outside to call for backup and finds Arthur and his exorcist preparing to attack Mole. Nodo leaps into action, and Ren joins the fray, resulting in chaos. Mole sacrifices herself to save the others. An unexpected summon forces Arthur to retreat, and Ernst arrives, outing the Grigori and declaring himself the new pope. Yukio realizes Ren hasn't returned home, adding to the day's tension. Ren finds the academy locked due to a hostage situation. Yukio is promoted to director of the Japan branch and given the prestigious title of Paladin. Ren is shocked by this revelation and Yukio's secretive actions. The Vatican's new scheme, Jacob's Ladder, aims to wipe out demons in Asia, and Yukio enlists Ren's help. With new weapons, Ren and Yukio dive into demon hunting. Ryuji notices the weapons are siphoning demon energy. Yukio reveals that Ernst promised to restore his humanity if they succeed. Ernst's plan involves taking Ren's demonic powers. Just as they settle down for dinner, chaos erupts. Ernst and his cronies scramble. Ernst greets Ren, setting the stage for an epic showdown. The next day, news of Ren's impending execution shocks the school. Instructor Tsubaki warns that the Vatican wants Ren's head. Arthur stands guard, ready to repel any saviors. As Ren is subjected to torture, Yukio demands answers from Ernst. Ernst reveals the rooftop of the academy, built by Mephisto, is key to bridging Assiah and Gehenna. However, they need Ren's blood to succeed. Yukio tries to stop Ernst, but it's futile. Ernst threatens to detonate a bomb if Yukio doesn't comply. Faced with Ren's suffering, Yukio sacrifices himself. Yukio transforms, engulfed in blue flames, shocking the students in Tsubaki. Despite supposedly being immune to Satan's powers, Yukio is affected. The gates of Gehenna open, and Satan reveals Yuri's story. Yuri was immune to the blue flames, loved Satan, and dreamed of coexistence. Fujimoto was imprisoned for his love for Yuri, and Ernst pushed for the termination of her pregnancy. Yuri gave birth to twins before her death, and Fujimoto raised them. Mephisto bet that if the twins turned demonic, he would claim their lives. Yukio's rage boils over as Ernst confirms the truth. Satan seizes control of Yukio, plunging them into darkness. Arthur joins forces with Shira against the demonic threat. Ren witnesses Yukio succumbing to Satan. Satan plans to merge Gehenna and Assiah, fulfilling Yuri's dream. Ryuji steps in to protect his friends. Tsubaki sacrifices himself to save them. Kamiki uses divine power to quench the blue flames, and Shima and Kanekomaru create a barrier. Satan breaks through, but Shira intervenes, and Shiemi transports everyone to safety. Ren reveals Satan's plan, and Shira devises a strategy to save Yukio and thwart Satan. Shira confronts Satan, buying time for the others. Ren bides his time on the rooftop, waiting to strike. Shira's attacks are futile, but Shiemi arrives, pleading with Satan to stop. Satan threatens Shiemi, and Ren reveals himself, hoping to reach Yukio. Satan sees through the ploy and attacks Ren. Ren, torn between duty and love, discards the Koma sword. Yukio struggles against Satan's control. Ren's cry snaps Yukio back to reality. Yukio fights to resist Satan and turn the gun on himself. Ren's anguish brings Yukio back, and Ren pleads with him to fight together. The gates of Gehenna loom, and Satan's voice echoes. Mephisto watches the chaos. The final confrontation begins. Demons pour out, threatening to engulf Assiah. Shiemi and Shira are cornered but saved by Arthur. United, they fight the demons. Ren attacks the gate, but it regenerates and strikes back. Demons breach Vatican HQ. Kuro arrives, offering a ride to the gate. Ren and Yukio fight through swarms of demons. Yukio unleashes his demon form, and they destroy the gate together. With the gate destroyed, the battle is won, but casualties mount. Shiemi scolds Ren and Yukio. Arthur bids farewell, and Mephisto reflects on an ancient foe. The academy rebuilds, and classes resume. Yukio loses his paladin title, and Ren returns to his usual habits. Yukio takes Ren to their birthplace, revealing the truth about their mother and Satan. Life goes on with new missions, but old tensions resurface. The trio faces a demon known as Ghost Rider, standing united against darkness. As the epic journey concludes, let me know your thoughts and make sure you are subscribed. Now, excuse me while I go find Truck-kun for research purposes.